Hi there, and thank you for joining me. My name is Lisa Tabor, and I'm coming to you from Ontario, Canada. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! Today, we're going to be making this card. We have a secret ingredient, which is packing tape. So I used packing tape to make my frosted window. And I actually did this technique last year for the Christmas cards that we sent out to our family and friends. And if you took classes with me last winter, you'll recognize this card. And I just used a layering circle die to create my snowball. And then the background, I actually used a retired background stamp that was music. I just layered it on some gold glimmer and used very vanilla as my my top piece of my card, and I just mounted it on basic black, and that was my Christmas card that we sent out last year. And then this morning I was thinking, today is a me day. We've spent the weekend at a craft show, not a craft show, a quilt show. We own a quilt shop in Cobourg, Ontario, and we were at a quilt show up in Oshawa, Ontario. And it was a very busy couple of days, and we came home later last night and we were both exhausted. So we decided that we were going to have personal days today and just do nothing or whatever we felt like. So I think my husband's actually upstairs listening to an audiobook and having a nap with the cat, and I'm playing with paper. So this morning, I thought I really like the Christmas Rose stamp set. Now, having said that, I didn't use the Christmas Rose stamp set, but what I did use was the die from the Christmas Time is Here bundle. Well, the suite, actually. And I used the die and the designer series paper from the suite. And the die that cuts out this beautiful stamp actually cuts out the larger of the rose bundles on this designer series paper. Isn't that gorgeous? So I cut out one of the roses, and then I cut out the frame using this from Whisper White and layered them and made my frosted glass, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Now with this one I used Dazzling Diamonds, and you can see it's really quite frosty and a little bit almost too opaque for my liking. So I mean, it was an experiment. Even though I did do the one from last year, I used Dazzling Diamonds, but it doesn't seem quite as opaque as the rose one. So I don't know what that's all about. This time I used the Ice Stamp and Glitter, which is new in the holiday catalog, and I quite like the effect. It's very clear, but you do get a lot of glitter with the little ice pieces, the little glitters. So we're going to use that one today. All right, so let's get started. I'll just put all this away. So what you need to do this card is your card base is, I'm using Night of Navy. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4, which is half of 8.5. And you'll also need another piece of Night of Navy, which is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. A piece of Whisper White, which is 3 and I think this is 3.5 by 3.5. I keep changing it, but I think, yep, 3.5 by 3.5. And a piece of the shimmer silver, or sorry, silver glimmer paper is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then you'll need another piece that's 3/4 of an inch by about 3 1/4, and then a scrap of Whisper White that's 1/2 an inch by, this is about 4 inches or so, and we'll end up trimming it anyway. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to use this star from the So Many Stars stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it with the Night of Navy ink. So I'm going to quote Connie Stewart from Simply Simple Stamping. And new stampers have a tendency to really press their stamps into the ink and you end up puddling ink into the detail of your stamp, which you don't want to do because then you don't get a crisp design. So another thing to remember when you're stamping with the photopolymer stamps, which are the clear ones, is that you need something with a little bit of give underneath it. And you can use either your Stampin' Pierce mat, which has a bit more give than this, or I'm just going to use my silicone mat today. And I'm going to square this up. So I'm just going to kiss, oh yeah, so I started to tell you. So Connie Stewart says kiss the bunny, as opposed to smashing in the bunny's face. So we're going to kiss the bunny gently. And I want to center my star on my cardstock, and that looks pretty centered, I guess. Not bad. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. Next thing I need to do is we're going to take this star. Now, when I did my prototype, I tried a couple of different ones to see which one actually fit the stamp, and it's the Stitch Star Dies, and it's number 150653 in the holiday catalog, and I just love these. I was just waiting for them to come out with some layered stamps, and these Stitch Stars are, or not layered stamps, layered stars, and these layered stars are stunning. There, so I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to grab my Big Shot. Now, I've never put my Big Shot on my cutting table, on my work table before when I'm doing a video, so this is a first. We'll see how it works out, and then we'll decide whether or not we'll ever do this again. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to line that up. Those magnets drive me a little bonkers here. I'm going to flip my plate over. Maybe that'll help. Yep. My per plates are getting warped. This Big Shot is retired from Stampin' Up, and it's my understanding that there's a new machine coming out, a new cutting machine coming out in the near future, in the new year. Not sure when exactly. So I'm excited about that. Much as I love my Big Shot, I'm always up for a new toy. There. Okay. Oh, you know what? I cut it up upside down. Good grief. Okay. Note to self, make sure you can see where my star cut out on my plate there. How not to cut out a die. All right, let's pop that back on there. You'd think I was a novice. I might be a novice at videos, but I'm certainly not a novice at cutting out dies. Okay, let's try that again. I thought it sounded kind of funny when I was doing it. That's better. All right. Okie doke. So, what I want to do now is we're just going to put, I'm going to put that away. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to bring back my silicone mat, and I'm going to lay, I'm going to turn it upside down before I do anything else. And I'm going to put my tape onto my, now you know with packing tape it's prudent to fold over the end, because when it snaps back on itself it's a stinker to get back off. If you can even find the end. Ah! There we are. Okay. So I'm just going to put that on there. It's fighting back just a hair here. Now I've heard demonstrators say don't overlap it, but you can. I've never had a problem overlapping the tape with seeing the seams or anything like that. Once you get the glitter on, you're actually not going to see it. I can see I just went over the edge here just a hair, so I'm just going to give that a little haircut. There, beautiful. So now I can flip it over, but I want to stick my star, which is the right way up here. There, I want to stick my star under it so that I know where to put my holiday rhinestones. You can see I love these. I'm using them up like crazy. So I'm going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to put a big one in the middle. I didn't on the other one, but I think I will. Now this is tape. The sticky side of the tape is up, so you really don't want to get your fingers all over it and reduce any of the sticky for when you go to put the glitter on there, but press it down. I'm just using tweezers. And then there's little circles in the star that I'm just sort of placing these in those little circles just for some detail. Because you're going to see this star once we get the window assembled. Oops. Get back there. Yeah, so we went to this quilt show in Oshawa this weekend, and they hold it at the Polish Hall in Oshawa, and it's like a hall that community hall that is run by the Polish community, and they hold dances there, and they have like a supper club and different things like that. And whenever we do quilt shows there, we have the ability to order Polish food to be picked up at the end of the quilt show, which we always do because we love it. So I'm just going to pull this out. I'm going to grab some scrap paper here, and I'm just going to pour my Stampin' Glitter here, Stampin' Ice glitter. Just give it a little press. So we ordered 2 different kinds of pierogi and some cabbage rolls. They have chicken, city chicken, which isn't really even chicken. I think it's pork, actually. I'm not sure what it is. But this time we just ordered some pierogies and some cabbage rolls, but they're all handmade, freshly made by the ladies of the Polish Club. And it's delicious. We've never been disappointed. And every time we do a quilt show at this particular hall, we always order the Polish food, and then it's a fundraiser for the club as well, so it works out for everybody. Alrighty, so now I'm going to take my Night of Navy, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of my star here, just in the middle, and I'm using liquid glue because I want to have the ability to move it around if I have to. So I'm going to center that. Now I may have to move it around. Yep, I'm going to have to move it around. So I want this centered on the blue. So there it is centered, but I'm going to have to move the star. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers and give the star a little shove over to where it matches the cutout. A little bit more over here. Oh, I had it better then. Come on, get in there. There. A little bit more. There, that's pretty centered. Well, it's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to press down the star and let that sort of settle down where it is. And then I'm going to mount this onto my silver glitter paper. I have a feeling, you know what, I'm going to actually trim the white just a smidgen, because I think I wouldn't mind having just a bit bigger of a blue background. Like if I put it on now, no, you know what, I'm going to leave it. I think I like that. So I'm going to put this on dimensionals. I'm going to put the white window on dimensionals. I hear a cat coming downstairs. They always want to jump on my work table. And then I have one, Roxy, who will jump right on my lap so that I have to stop what I'm doing and give her a snuggle, and then she goes away. But she found a play feather little toy. It looks like a little bird tail, but it's just part of a bird toy, and she's playing with that, so I'm safe for the moment. Alright, so the right side up is this way, so I'm just going to center that over my star and over the blue so that it's centered. There, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, love it. Love it, love it. Okay. So now, oh, I forgot to I forgot my bone folders over on the other table. Here's one. So I'm just going to burnish my fold here. And I'm going to put this probably about there. Yeah, I like that. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. Center that up at the top because I want to put my sentiment near the bottom. Ah, I love it. So now for my sentiment, I decided that I was going to, where did I put it? I was looking for my clear embossing powder, which I just had. What the heck did I do with that? Come on, embossing powder, where did you go? Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to just stamp my sentiment from Itty Bitty Christmas with the Night of Navy. So what I was going to do before I lost my clear embossing powder, I must have put it away when I was tidying up, is if you stamp with Versamark, if you put, well, you know what, let's do it anyway. Let me just, excuse me for a sec, I'm just going to look to see where I put the clear embossing powder. Yeah, put it away. I think I thought I was putting away the silver, but anyway, I put away the clear. So here's my clear embossing powder. I'm going to get everything organized here. So when you're embossing, you want to go over your cardstock with the embossing buddy. It's like a little talc, little powder puff. And that stops, it stops you from getting, what do you call that, static or oily fingerprints on your paper, that so that you won't get embossing powder where you don't want it, because once you heat it and it starts to melt, you're going to have, you could have an embossing fingerprint, which I've had, and it's really not attractive. So okay, so now I've put it in the Versamark first, and then I've just gone straight ahead to stamp it onto the Night of Navy, and I'm going to place it on my cardstock piece here, my little scrap. And I always put my stamp on an angle like this because for me it's easier to line up the straight line of the greeting with the paper as opposed to trying to fight with the bottom of the block. So I find I have a lot more accuracy doing it this way. I'm just going to go in about maybe 3/4 of an inch. Stamp it in the middle. Beautiful. And I'm just going to give it a little quick dip in clear embossing powder. Put the cover on that so I don't dump it all over everything. And I'm just going to take my heat tool, sorry for the noise, and just watch how it changes. See it getting darker? It's getting dark and glossy with the clear embossing powder. Whew, it's hot. Beautiful. So you can see how it's just a little bit glossy. So just that little bit of clear embossing powder, you can turn any of your inks into embossable ink just by using clear right over it. Isn't that really charming? Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so that's that. Now what I want to do is I want to figure out how big I want this. So probably, I don't know, I don't want to go too far. Maybe to there, no. Yeah, maybe to there. So I'm just going to trim that off. And then with this one, I'm going to go just, oops, not even straight. Let's trim that up a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to, I want to have about maybe 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I'm going to sit this there. And then just trim my silver to where I need it to be. So about there. Now I found when I did the earlier one, I thought this is just a wee bit on the boring side. So I'm just actually going to take the edge and I'm just going to dip it right into the ink. Okay. Now often we will use a sponge or a dauber to do the ends, but I really didn't want that much ink. I just needed something to give it a little bit of a definition. So this is, I decided to do it this way. And so now when I lay it down, look at the difference. It makes a big difference. It sticks, it doesn't stick out, it stands out. See how you just have just that little bit of blue around the edges, and I think it just finishes it off. Now that I have them covered in ink, I'll get rid of that. Okay, so now we can assemble. So I'm going to glue this to my silver. And I'll pop it up on some Stampin' Dimensionals and put it on the bottom of my card. There. I don't know, what would life be without dimensionals? I don't know. There. Just put that there. And I think it calls for one more little gem. There. Now I forgot to cut out another piece for the inside of my card, but I'll show you this one. So it's a white, Whisper White cardstock, and it measures 5 1/4 by 4. No, sorry, yeah, 5 1/4 by 4. And I used the cluster of stars. There's 2 clusters. There's, I don't know, can you see that? I'll show you on the front. There's 2 clusters. There's the detail cluster, which is this one that I used, and then there's more like a shimmery cluster. Oh, that glare, sorry. Oof. Make it go blind. There we go. So I use this one. I think I like that one better. I'm gonna have to talk to my husband about this overhead light of mine. Anyhow, so yeah, I use that one for here, and then the Oh Holy Night sentiment. Cheapers. That's terrible. Okay, yeah. Oh Holy Night. And that was the inside of my card. So there you go. I hope you like it. If you see anything on this video that you do think you'd like to have, please place an order with me. I'd love to be your demonstrator. If you'd like a catalog, just contact me through my website, critters'nink.com. You can see it here, critters'nink.com. And the November host code is here, and it's also on my blog at critters'nink.com. If there's anything that I can do for you, please let me know. And